1 in 3 American men are jobless. We're asking the question, is there a physical silver shortage? And Microsoft slashed 4,800 jobs. This is the foundation. Current events for July 6th, 2026. I am Sot L, seeker of truth L, speaker of truth L. And I trust that you had a great weekend. We're going to get right into this current events, get you in and out, Be sure to check out welcometothefoundation.com. Sign up for the email list at the very least. We would appreciate that. Let's move forward. Where's my, there we go. Let's look at silver. Silver, $56.21. Excuse me. Y'all got a little stuffiness. $56.21 for the contract, if I'm being specific. $62.15 for the physical. That's what we got. It's moving. Market's still open. $60.02. Shanghai spot price, $62.08. Let's refresh that. Just make sure we're good. No, see, $69 and a penny. I thought that was weird. For the Eastern spot price and $62.16 for the Western spot price. Still roughly about a $7 difference. At least in, fiat currency. We dollar cost average, whether it is $25, $50, $100. Every 2 weeks, every month, take that, go and grab physical silver. We buy gold or a coin dealer is where I would go. And they have those shiny ones, the real shiny ones and all that. And they may have extra designs. Nope. I'll get the ugliest stuff in the world because it's still an ounce of silver. That's just me personally. Let's move forward. Let's get into this. Iran. Iranian mourners call for vengeance on Trump during Khamenei funeral procession. I tried 4 times right there. He deserves it. People pass away. You can't be disrespectful. Crowds of Iranians marched through the streets of Tehran in a funeral procession for slain leader Khamenei, Ayatollah, I think. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the biggest day yet in a week of massive memorial ceremonies demonstrating the grip of surviving clerical leaders. Look, this is what I want to point out. The U.S. killed our father. We won't let it go. Man, listen, I'm not even going to say that. I don't think you can say that. Battery's getting low. On the mobile laptop. Listen, I'm not going to say that, but ultimately, that's not good. And it's not good that that's, in Western news, front page. Just wanted to point that out. America is in the middle of the biggest property tax revolt in 50 years. Avedo, a bedroom community outside Orlando, has been trying to build a new police station for a decade. The dilapidated windows in the 36-year-old station are leaking water, and it's too cramped for Avedo's growing police force. Avedo has finalized plans for a modern $18 million station with officer training facilities and space for its canine dogs. But the city may need a new police station or may not need a new police station. Avedo soon may not even have a police department at all. In November, Florida voters, so it's just, Florida, the state. This is the state of Florida, East Coast, will decide on a ballot amendment that would remove roughly 60% of Florida residents from the property tax rolls, man. Property taxes generate half of Avedo's revenue, funding its police, fire, and parks department. If the ballot proposal passes, The city would fold the police department after savings run dry in a year and hand policing responsibilities over to Seminole County, Oviedo Mayor Megan Sladek said. So this would be, they'd have to deal with sheriffs and deputies instead of a police station. The police officers, I guess, right? Florida is the epicenter of the largest property tax backlash in America since the 1970s. Taxes on land and buildings are the largest revenue source for most local governments, but real estate values have surged almost 27% faster than inflation since 2020, fueling homeowners' anger over higher tax bills on their properties. 34 states passed property tax reforms from 2020 to 2025, according to the National Association of Counties. Ohio, Indiana, and Wyoming passed property tax cuts last year. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has proposed eliminating the school property tax for homeowners and using the state's budget surplus to backfill funding. Groups in North Dakota and Ohio have gathered signatures for state ballot amendments to abolish property taxes altogether. Quote, "We're experiencing a new property tax revolt." This is Jared Walkazak, a senior fellow at the right-leaning Tax Foundation. The populist right has led the charge breaking with traditional fiscal conservatives who long favored property taxes because they were closely connected to local decision making. The property tax rebellion is part of a broader push on both the right and the left to give tax exemptions to seniors, workers who rely on tips, and the bottom 50% of the country to address cost of living pressures. Florida's ballot amendment would ripple through local governments. Florida has no personal income tax, so municipalities rely primarily on property and sales taxes to fund services. While sales taxes fluctuate, property taxes stabilize local coffers. Some cash-strapped jurisdictions say the measure would handcuff their ability to pay for services, and they'd respond by making cuts or consolidating. Other local governments may try to close the revenue gap by hiking taxes on renters, businesses, and or second homeowners. Quote, "It would just be this crazy domino effect of messed up unintended consequences," end quote. Florida's homestead exemption. Florida's legislature recently approved the ballot initiative to increase the tax exemption of homestead primary residences from $50,000 to $250,000 by 2028. The exemption would rise at the same rate as inflation every year after. Raise or rise? I don't know. What if inflation goes crazy? What if there's hyperinflation? You want to hyperinflate your tax bill. The proposal would also reduce the current 10% cap on annual assessment increase of non-homestead properties, rental buildings, and commercial properties to 5%. 60% of Florida voters must approve the amendment. I don't know. What y'all think about this? What do you think about this? I don't know. It's crazy. The stock market rally that's making some people rich and everyone else miserable. The K-shaped economy. You guys heard about that? The saving grace of this economy that everyone hates. Wealthy Americans are keeping it afloat by spending throughout tariffs, inflation, war, you name it. The ugliest part of this economy, the wealth gap between affluent and low-income households, continues to widen, postponing or destroying the American dream for millions of hardworking people. Underpinning both the best and worst parts of America's economy is the mind-boggling stock market rally. It's a catch-22 with no easy solution, but if the stock market rally that powers the divide fizzles out, the economy could take a significant beating. And, what is it? The stock market crash in the 20s? The Great Depression? During hyperinflationary periods in most economies, historically, the stock market is going crazy because everything is worth more and more because the currency is worth less and less despite near record low consumer sentiment. Americans of all stripes and income levels are spending at a faster clip this year than in 2025. According to Bank of America's Institute's monthly report on depositor data, but wealthy Americans are doing most of the heavy lifting. The top 20% of earners make up 57% of U.S. consumer spending, according to the Dallas Federal Reserve. That's not only because they're richer and have more money, it's because of what kind of wealth they hold. Wealthy Americans or wealthier Americans are more likely to be homeowners, able to unlock significant equity from surging home prices in recent years, particularly if they bought or refinanced at sub 3% rates during the panorama. The top 20% of earners own more than half of America's overall home value. Just 3% of America's home value is owned by the bottom 20% of earners, according to the New York Federal Reserve. Another contributing factor, wealthy Americans are significantly more invested in the stock market. The top 20% of earners control 87% of the wealth generated by America's individually owned stocks, according to the Federal Reserve's distributional financial accounts. Take stock of this. The S&P 500 has given investors a total return of 22% over the past year, 76% since 2023, and 327% over the past decade. Those massive market gains have persuaded stockholders to spend. Quote, share price gains have been an important driver of spending on discretionary goods and services from older, wealthier households, which account for more than 50% of total spending in those categories. End quote. This is Michael Pierce, chief U.S. economist at Oxford Economics. Because that market wealth is so concentrated among wealthy households, so too is the spending it generates. 3/4 of spending created by the market rally flows through the top 20% of earners, according to Joe Brusalas. That was three tries, y'all. Chief economist at RSM US. Over the past year, the market generated $53 billion in spending. Brusalas estimates, I don't know, I'm probably not even saying that even close to correct. That's a lot of bread, equal to about a seventh of the 2.1% annualized growth rate in the U.S. gross domestic product last quarter. That's a lot of money, or currency, depending on how you look at it. 1 in 3 American men no longer working or job hunting. Wow. Check this out. An analysis of Bureau and labor statistics data shows that roughly 1 in 3 American men of working age were neither working nor looking for work. Among males aged 20 and older, the labor force participation rate stood at 66%, down from 73% in 2026. What year is it now? Oh, I'm sorry, 2006. I read that wrong. I'm sorry about that. The trend, which predates the panorama, has raised questions about long-term workforce dynamics as the U.S. faces an aging population and shifting economic demands. Labor force participation measures the share of the civilian, non-institutional population, either employed or actively seeking work. Those not in the labor force include individuals who have stopped looking for work, often citing disability, family responsibilities, education, or other reasons. Fight for the truth. Man, get up out of here. Working age definition and historical comparison. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics typically defines the working age population age as 16 and older, with prime working ages often cited as 24 to 54. The 1 in 3 figure cited in recent reporting refers to men aged 16 and older, or the broader working age cohorts who are not in the labor force. What do you guys think about that? I don't know. That's kind of spectacular. Job seekers giving up. CNBC. Labor force participation rate falls to the lowest in 50 years. I was saying 50, but it sounded like 15. I don't know. Excuse me. This is probably and likely from the same source. The decline in the jobless level to 4.2% is the lowest in the year, came largely from an exodus of workers from the labor force, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics data. Quitting the search within the Bureau's household survey, where the participation numbers are drawn, is a story of consistently contracting labor force potentially driven by unemployed workers simply giving up. In June alone, the labor force, a measure of those either employed or not employed and looking for work, plummeted by 720,000. 720,000, that's a lot. Similarly, the roles of those counted as not in the labor force, a group that includes the unemployed and those not looking for work, jumped by 832,000. Man, let's move forward. Is there a silver shortage in 2026? I don't know. That was kind of depressing. Let's just move forward, man. Let's just move forward. Let's not even talk about the implications, about the potential causes of all of that, and get into it. Can get quickly down some conspiratorial. But this is not conspiracy. Is there a silver shortage in 2026? Let's do the TLDR, the too long didn't read. Short answer, no. Not the empty vault. Can't buy a coin shortage. The doom crowd sells. What is real is a structural deficit, and that is enough. In 2026, the silver market is on track for its 6th straight year of using more silver than mines and recycling can supply. That keeps draining above ground stockpiles, and those stockpiles are not infinite. A silver squeeze happens when that slow physical drain collides with a paper market many times larger than the metal behind it. Buyers demand actual bars. Shorts who sold silver they never owned scramble to cover, and price gaps higher. We saw the live version in early 2026 when silver ripped out of the $80 range, crossed $100, and printed an all-time high of $121.62 on January 29th, 2026. So every year they're using more than is being produced through recycling and through mining. And every year they're producing less silver and mining less silver. I don't know. What do you think? Dollar cost average is what I think. Dollar cost average. Fruit sold at major grocery chain recalled after 12 sickened with E. coli. Major grocery chain. Consumers who shop at Publix are being urged to check their freezers after one lot of Greenwise organic IQF blueberries was voluntarily recalled over concern it may be contaminated with E. coli. Chile-based supplier Frutas y Hortalizas del Sur. I don't know. I probably messed that up, but hey, I feel pretty good about that. Announced the recall on July 3rd after receiving reports of illnesses among consumers who had eaten the product, according to a recall notice posted by Publix. The recalled blueberries were distributed to Publix stores in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. So y'all be lookout. The recall applies to 10-ounce Greenwise organic IQF blueberries with lot code 60401 and best buy date February 9th, 2028. How are the blueberries going to be good until 2028? That's what, no other lot codes or best buy dates are included in the recall. Check them out. Be sure you don't have these. Biden, former acting ICE director, reveals biggest issue with Biden policy that made Americans losers in housing. Basically, he's saying he's citing the Fed Dallas paper linking illegal immigration to a 2.2% rise in home prices. That's the too long didn't read. And last but not least, Microsoft joins AI driven tech layoff wave with 4,800 job cuts. Ouch. 22.1% of his workforce. Microsoft cut or roughly 4,800 jobs as the Windows maker restructures parts of its commercial and Xbox businesses, joining other tech titans in a wave of layoffs as they shift investments towards AI infrastructure. This stuff started a long time ago. What was I calling it back in the day? And we're talking years ago. I was saying the retail apocalypse. I don't know if you guys remember. Retail was getting destroyed a few years back. A lot of different bankruptcies, a lot of stores closing, a lot of people getting laid off. It's me personally, I see it moving sector to sector. It's now in, tech, where it was in retail. Manufacturing was destroyed when they shut down everything, 5-6 years back. And this is not the retail apocalypse. This is the tech apocalypse. But 4,800 jobs. That's one of those things. If you know anyone that's affected, or you are affected, I will you the best. I'm sorry for your loss, man. But what can we do about this? There's nothing that can be done. But I appreciate you guys checking out current events. That's it. I'm out of here. You guys enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It's very important. And I will catch y'all tomorrow. Peace, y'all.